Spoons are my favorite method to fish flies. They may not be as popular as spinners or crankbaits, but when fished properly, they are just as productive. When it comes to catching fish on a spoon, color really matters. When in doubt, go with something shiny and sparkly. Prism tape can work well. Yellow with a little red tends to be a good color, especially for brown trout. Bright fluorescent colors can work well for rainbows. Brook trout often like some black in the color, especially on cloudy days. Unlike spinners and crankbaits, there are a lot of differences between spoons, so let's go over some of the more popular types. The 1/10 ounce Thompson Colorado spoon has been very productive in the short time I've been using it. I commonly catch as many fish on the spoon as I do on the flies behind it. The 1/10 ounce weight is ideal size to provide sufficient casting distance without being too heavy, and the wide profile gives it both good action and a slow sink rate. The engraved scales increases its flashing and attractor qualities. Use the gold copper color for brook and brown trout and the silver nickel color for cutthroats and rainbows. I have spent a lot of time fishing with Daredevils. They are a great spoon with a slow, fluttering action. The 1/16 ounce size is ideal for small streams, and the 1/8 ounce can be used for larger rivers and lakes. Now they come in two models. I get the trout model, which is the thinner variety. Although these are great lures, and they're great lures in their own right, you don't need a fly behind a little Daredevil to catch fish on it. It works really well on its own, but it works even better when you've got one or two flies behind it. Though they're great lures, I don't see many in the fishing stores, so I end up buying my spoons on the Epringer's website. They have so many colors out there, you can just go crazy buying different colors. Color doesn't matter so much in the spinner, but it really matters in the spoon. I'm not sure why, but it really matters. Lately, I've been using this really hot color. It's a dark olive green with a red stripe through it. It is a killer on brook trout. I've really been catching a lot of brook trout on this. Got a few brown trout too. If I were fishing brown trout, probably yellow 5 of diamonds would be my favorite go-to color for brown trout. Castmasters might be the most popular spoon for trout fishing. They are compact, cast far, and sink faster than many other spoons. I would use a Castmaster when fishing a deep stream, or maybe when I'm trying to get near the bottom of a deep hole, or when retrieving against a fast current. I have found the sparkly prism tape color to be most effective. The Johnson Minnow spoon is my go-to spoon when I'm fishing waters that only allow a single hook point on the lure. The hook is set far in the back to pick up the typically short-biting trout. It has a very slow sink rate, perfect for casting upstream and across, my preferred approach, and it is generally snag resistant. It comes in both a 1/16 ounce as well as a 1/8 ounce size, ideal for a variety of stream types. Besides being an ideal spoon for presenting flies slowly, it also does well at catching its share of fish too. On a recent fishing trip, I hooked a brown of about 24 inches on the spoon. Unfortunately, I failed to maintain a tight line and the fish threw the hook and got away. You may have to go online to johnsonfishing.com to get this spoon in the weight or color of your choice. The Johnson Silver Minnow may be a good spoon for bass and pike, but I don't advise it for trout. The hook is set too far forward for the typically short striking trout. Use Johnson's Minnow spoon instead. With its unconventional bent fish shape, highly reflective surface, and engraved scales, the Phobie is a good attractor spoon. It comes in sizes 1/12 or 1/8 ounce, and I recommend getting it in a metallic color, copper, silver, or gold, to emphasize its greatest strength, lots of reflection. The Phobie helped me catch this 4-pound trout which hit on a fly trailing behind the spoon. My limited experience with the Super Duper spoon has been less than super. They appear to be popular in the Rocky Mountain area, but they don't seem to work as well as other spoons when fished with flies. Perhaps you will have different results. Besides spinners, the Mepps company also makes some fine spoons. With a narrow profile, the 1/8 ounce Cyclops works well when fished through a fast current. And at 1/8 or 1/16 ounce, the Bantam Cyclops is an extremely thin, slow-sinking flutter spoon, good when a slow and flashy presentation is desired. Swedish Pimples were originally designed for jigging through the ice, In fact, the word pimple is Swedish for jigging. I get these spoons in a 1/10 ounce size and paint them green and remove the hook when I want to use it as a hookless casting weight. This is preferable over a sinker because sinkers tend to sink too fast. If you add sparkly prism tape to it and retrieve it with a jigging motion, it will catch fish quite well, especially brook trout. Attach the spoon to your main line using a swivel. There are two ways to connect your flies when using a spoon. The first method is to attach your fluorocarbon fly leader to the top of the swivel, the same place the main line is attached to. This method allows the lure better movement during the retrieve and will help you catch more fish on the spoon. It also makes it easy to swap out the spoon with another lure, either a different spoon or a crankbait. Doing so can increase your adaptability to the varying water types encountered throughout the day on many trout streams. The second method is to attach the line to the rear of the spoon. For spoons with treble hooks, you will want to tie your line to the connector O-ring as shown here. Tying directly to the treble hook itself can sometimes throw the spoon off balance and make it spin. For spoons having a single hook such as a Minnow O spoon, you may tie directly to the rear hook. An advantage of tying to the rear of a spoon is that the drag from the trailing flies causes the spoon to lay flat in the water, horizontal like a glider. This will minimize your sink rate and is ideal when trying to achieve a slow presentation, such as when fishing nymphs. For a spoon, when you cast it out, to make the most out of the fish catching potential of a spoon, as well as attracting more fish to your flies, you need to give it a little extra action. So you pull it forward, then you drop your rod tip, kind of leave it flutter and sink, and then you reel it back. And then you drop your rod tip again, kind of like a jigging motion like this. And when the spoon is being pulled forward, the weight of the flies behind it, it just kind of goes straight, motionless. And I don't usually catch fish when the spoon is moving forward. But when I drop the rod tip, the spoon starts to sink and flutter. That's when I catch the fish on the spoon. 90% of the time, when the fish hit the spoon, it's when the spoon is fluttering downward. Lower your rod tip, kind of like a jig. It's very similar to fishing a jig. Just got to give it a pull, then leave it go down, and then another pull.